Thank you so very much. Chief Whip of the House, Abuja, the contract for the installation of the President, talking about Imam, former Permanent Secretary, gentlemen of the press, also not forget that President, distinguished stakeholders. A very good morning and welcome to the installation of closed-circuit television communication system project brought before the House, which among others will it is in the exercise of this mandate that this committee is today interfacing on side of the story. I think of the representative of this excellence invite the chairman of the ad hoc committee, Honorable Madam Ahmed.
The VET to complete the contract as agreed was signed. It is important to remind you that the 7th Assembly has conducted a similar investigation and public hearing was held, but it was not ascertained and was not submitted to the House for approval. Therefore, it became very imperative and important to again start this investigation to go to the bottom of this communication between security agencies to enhance their capacities to fight crime. The failure of complete the projects for the National Public Security Communication System contract has attended negative effect on the capacity of the security agencies of the country to fight a crime that became very endemic in this country, especially with the challenges of insurgency and the daily things that are happening in our streets. That's fighting crimes that become very, very difficult in the absence of this project, which was not being completed. The cost of this contract was $470 million US, translated into this Nigerian naira is about 150 billion. That's a very big sum of money. After investigation, we discovered that not up to $100 million US or less than 20% of the contract sum has been committed to the project. It is apparent the public trust has been breached and abused by those that have been entrusted to run the contract, right from the inception to the conclusion. And this is totally a breach of public trust. In line with the federal government's zero tolerance to corruption and effort to streamline its activities for better efficiency, this committee will do its utmost best under normal circumstances to go to the bottom of this problem and find solutions to all those issues arising from it. As earlier stated, an investigation into the award of this contract has been conducted in the past, but no headway. I therefore call on all those that have responsibilities to cooperate with our investigations and submit the right relevant documents to ensure that we are here to the members of the House for the completion of this contract and investigations to lead to the conclusions once again. The Federal Capital Treasury has had about 8 bombs attacks since October 1st, 2010, and other heinous crimes are perpetrated on a daily basis, as I mentioned earlier. These attacks have been reduced to the barest minimum, and investigation made easier had these cameras and security and monitoring system have been in place. Owing to the importance of this project, this committee has requested for broad participation of all stakeholders and the public. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an important thing. We are now in a very serious transition in Nigeria. We have all kinds of problems which we are all witness to it, and the best way forward for us is to cooperate and work together hand in hand. The bottom line that we must understand and appreciate that failure to comply with some of these agreements, not only in the sector where we have discussed now, or we are here to discuss and find solutions, there are many, many aspects in the running of this government previously and today that must be fixed. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to the cooperation of every person that is here and the Nigerian public to understand the magnitude of this failure, which will lead to a number of problems on a daily basis, and it will lead to a lot of losses of lives again and again. is something that is repeating itself. Insurgency is still going on, crimes are still going on, and a lot of problems are happening. Therefore, why can't we team up together and find solutions to our troubles and problems in Nigeria? Ladies and gentlemen, this public hearing is declared open, and we look forward to all those that are invited to cooperate with us in all angles to ensure success. Thank you very much.
And hands together once more for him, please. Thank you. Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, represented here ably, committee members of the ad hoc committee, distinguished.
The chairman of this important ad hoc committee, my honorable colleagues, members of this committee, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, allow me to please respectably stand on the already established protocol. Ladies and gentlemen and the press, good morning. Let me also put it on record that for the purposes of this event or this function, and also for the purposes of protocols, where everyone here finds it necessary to address me as the speaker, he should use a small s, not as capital S, please. I would like also to convey the apologies of the speaker for his inability to attend this very important function personally. This, of course, is due to some other equally important commitments that he has to attend right now. I therefore apologize to the chairman and by extension to the committee members and indeed all other stakeholders that are here on behalf of the honorable speaker. And I stand in here for him to read a draft which is addressed to this important exercise. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Addressed by the Right Honorable Yakubu Dogara, Speaker of the House of Representatives, on the occasion of the investigative hearing on the circumstances of the award of the contract for the installation of CCTV cameras in Abuja and Lagos, and the failure of the ZTE Corporation to complete the contract held in the House of Representatives at the New Building on the 28th day of January 2016. I am delighted to be part of this opening session of this investigation hearing on this cardinal issue of national security and public accountability. May I formally welcome everyone present for their determination and effort to participate and enrich this process of ensuring public accountability. On Thursday, the 8th of October 2015, the House deliberated on a motion on the need to investigate the circumstances of the award of the contract for the installation of CCTV cameras in Abuja and Lagos, and the failure of the ZTE Corporation to complete the contract, and therefore resolved to set up this ad hoc committee to holistically investigate and report its findings within a reasonable period of time. Contemporary discourse on Nigeria is always connected with issues surrounding insecurity, militancy, insurgency, and terrorism, with their multiplier effects on regional, national, and international socio-economic relations. The role of an effective communication for security agencies cannot therefore be overemphasized. This public hearing should therefore be seen as a deliberate effort to ensure that the lives, properties of Nigerians are safeguarded through a responsive system, and that there is transparency and accountability in the deployment of government funds within the provision of the Fiscal Responsibility Act. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is not in doubt that the country needs to evolve a mechanism of communication and response among security agencies as parts of its counter-insurgency strategy. For now, this remains a huge challenge facing the government. It is imperative, therefore, to give it the needed attention, including resource requirement. And therefore, the 8th Assembly, under my leadership, and in this case, the leadership of Right Honorable Yakubu Dogara, not my own leadership. The 8th Assembly, under my leadership, is herein committing itself to remain unflinching in its resolve to resuscitate the security arrangement by ensuring an effective and efficient delivery of seamless operationalization of National Public Security Communication System project. encompassing an e-policing, emergency response, video surveillance, and audio-video communication channels for related security agencies as a supportive means to restoring stability to the Nigerian state to facilitate the socio-economic growth and development of the people of our country. Reports available to us indicate that the country entered a loan agreement with the Chinese Exim Bank for a financing arrangement that did not take cognizance of the project cycle, focused mainly on supplies and offshore arrangements. Allegations regarding the implementation of the projects of such national security relevance include abdication of effective project and financial standard management and accountability, and weakening of the public treasury by deferred tax payments and suspicious expenditures that have not been properly accounted to government is unquestionably worthy of investigation. Let me use this opportunity to assure Nigerians that the House of Representatives will unravel and eliminate all defects in this contract imbroglio and ensure the intent, which is to set up a secure communication channel for the security agencies in the country, is realized, and shall not hesitate to hold to account the relevant actors for the expenditure of public funds where improprieties are detected. I therefore urge all members of this very important committee to visit the issues as raised with every sense of diligence and renaissance. The era of bloated and ineffectual contracts that have their beginnings and endings in mesh of corrupt activities should be committed to the annals of history. As we seek to turn a new leaf of building a more secure country, I therefore understand that to reach any meaningful conclusion on the issue of this contract, the public investigations on the circumstances of the award of the contracts for the installation of CCTV cameras in Abuja and Lagos respectively, and the failure of the corporation to complete the contract would have to be all-encompassing, bringing the entire investigations into the public security communication system. May I further implore members of the committee to carry out this investigation thoroughly, succinctly, and without let or hindrance by studying the memoranda submitted to give to all concerned stakeholders the opportunity to fully make their submissions so as to assist the committee in situating where the problems lie and making profound recommendations to the House of Representatives that will stand the test of time. But be reminded that there shall be no sacred cows. It is now my singular and personal privilege to, on behalf of the Speaker, to hereby declare the investigative hearing open and wish you a very fruitful deliberations. Thank you.
To stand on the existing protocol stated, and it's been reiterated that as far as the assignment of this committee is concerned, with the rules and regulations and laws of this country, and nothing will be decided based on that. Those who attend, we are quite impressed by the attendance, and I assure you that no time will be wasted as we depart.
Thank you, honorable members, the honorable minister, former stakeholders, gentlemen of the press, in charge of proceedings as we begin the technical.
You can all sit down, please.
From Oyo State, Minister of Communications. Thank you.
My name is Basi Apanyu. I'm the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Interior, representing the Minister.
Memorandum from the general public and other stakeholders, and we are waiting to get more and more and more to flow in. So what we have decided in this committee is to go forward with the investigation and to study your memorandum. This is an investigative hearing. We are starting as an opening ceremony today, but we have a long process to go. We will go to the bottom of the problem. At the same time, ask for the relevant information, which we have sent out. Therefore, I believe the honorable members, if they have any questions, they will ask you at the moment. But we will schedule a general hearing again and again. Individually, we will call the person or the agency concerned, and to make the relevant submissions, there we will interact on it. Then we will be able to really compile the report that we need and submit it to the Honorable House, to the Nigerian public. We must understand the grievous situation we find ourselves. We must understand and also appreciate the task ahead of all of us, whether we are in public service, retired, or representing the general public. And I believe we will get all the necessary support from you. So for the meantime, I will ask the honorable members if any one of them want to make a comment before we nail it out.
I congratulate you and your committee and the House for initiating this process. We are, like you have correctly said, in an era of accountability and transparency. Mr. Chairman, accountability and transparency cannot really work until they are based on integrity. And I think the integrity of this committee and what it is doing must be taken very seriously. I am very disturbed. I am also very disturbed because this is a public hearing, and there are insinuations as if whoever became a member of the police force or a minister was virtually indicted. I read your interview. I became worried when I read this interview. In any case, what I want to tell this committee, I received a letter from this committee, and I called the chairman and informed the chairman that I was not a minister when this contract was awarded. When it was initiated, I did not know anything about this contract. And I wrote this letter. I replied in writing. I spoke with the chairman. I explained to the chairman my position. I also, because I have interest in making sure that these issues are handled properly, I had a copy of the police report, which is very, very critical to whatever we are going to do. And I gave it to the police committee, the entire report. So why I'm saying this, your publication has created a lot of concern among Nigerians. Because we're in a period, people are being accused of collecting money for Boko Haram insurgency. And the moment anything is seen regarding this, people will make all sorts of insinuations. So, Mr. Chairman, regarding this contract, I want to say it publicly that I don't know anything. I did not participate. I did not participate in the process of the award and the real award of the contract. But, Mr. Chairman, I believe the police reform will help you a lot in deciding whatever you want to do regarding this issue. And I have given a copy to you. But in the summary form, this police reform was initiated by the late Eradu administration. The late Inspector General of Police was the chairman of many prominent Nigerians. They submitted the report. The first assignment I was given when I was appointed minister was to consider the reform. They came up with a recommendation of 3.7 trillion naira to implement the reform. I sat down, I recommended to government, and government agreed to form a committee of 6, implementing committee of 6,
chaired by the then Vice President, with 6 governors, with the National Security Advisor. It was a very, very powerful committee. My ministry reduced the 3.7 trillion to 1.7 trillion, under which the surveillance thing was part of it. Other areas of concentration were targeted, and therefore we came with 1.7 trillion. 10 days because my tenure was ended, the contribution of the federal government, which was about 600 billion, was approved. And for that year's budget, 300 billion was meant to be released. And the budget processes were concluded before that. So the then president, the then speaker, and the then Senate president and myself were invited. And the sum of 90 billion was approved to be released 10 days before I was removed. And then later I was understand 70 billion was released. And when 79 billion was released. Later I was made to understand, because I have interest in what is happening, I was made to understand that this contract was to have been handled by the National Security Advisor. But somehow, that was the end that I know. There are other CCTV contracts that I knew about, which was to have been handled by an Israeli firm. But that, I think, couldn't materialize. And there is also the issue of 7 cities. These 7 cities were to be handled by a separate fund, which was approved by the then president. Out of that, I think about 1.7 billion was committed. And the remaining money I left before it was executed. And part of that, part of the reform also required the establishment of the university in Wudil. But this also did not come from this money. But I understand the 79 billion that was released was what made the transfer of the project from the Office of the National Security Advisor to the Ministry of Police Affairs. But like I said, I am ready at any time to offer further suggestions on any other issue, but not this one, because I don't know anything about it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Honorable Minister, former Honorable Minister. First, we just showed it away because the process of giving a contract in this country is a long, tedious, tenacious process. Right from the proposals, right from the bidding process, and the whole process of awarding contract. And according to the document that we got from the ministry that you are the minister, you were there when the processes started, but you didn't conclude it. That's the bottom line. Number 2, we didn't intend to really start the public hearing at the moment. Our intention was to ask you to make all your submission under oath. Then we will schedule investigative hearing with each of the individual and the corporate that were involved. But you went ahead and gave your views because you want to leave. That's understood, and you are free to leave, and we're not holding you here. But there will be a time when we will have to come and appear and give the statement that you just mentioned under oath. This is just a statement you gave, and it's not under oath. Number 2, you make connection of people spending money or giving money for insurgents and supporting insurgency in this country, and the scandals related to the office of the former security advisor. Truly, the accusation left and right. But the Nigerian public are not all that dumb. They will be able to separate the two. The question of the CCTV and the contract related to it, and the issues of financing the arms deal of the former office of the National Security Advisor. So our interviews, or the interview given by me or any other member of this committee, everyone is entitled to voice his view. But we are not indicting anyone. We based our presentations, we based our interviews entirely based on the facts given to us by most of the stakeholders. The Office of the Procurement, they gave their own, the Ministry of Finance, the Central Bank, the Office of National Security Advisor, the Office of the Inspector General of Police, all gave their own views about this. So it's nothing personal. And I believe as an honorable minister also, we all have responsibilities. You might not be involved directly, but if you are involved indirectly, even if you are not involved at all, as a patriotic Nigerian, is in order to come and forward your own views. You now talk about Police Reform Act or some reports. I never heard of this report, and you did not submit it to this committee.
It's with the committee.
So it's with the Police Affairs, not with this committee. So therefore, I will ask you to make one submission on that, to clarify, to give clarifications to what you have said, and we will schedule you accordingly so that you will be able to now go for your medical appointment. Thank you very much, sir. But
fairness and propriety is restored to the committee. I understand and I know the chairman is from Bissau, Bauchi State, neighbor to my hometown and my state.
And my constituency too.
The chairman is also from Bauchi State, neighbor to my home state. So it's very easy for the two co-chairmen to inadvertently remember that Dr. Ibrahim Laimi and Adaomen Oziri were ministers of police affairs. Very easy. Both Laimi and myself can be said to be, in this project, we were the upstream ministers. Upstream. But there are other three ministers who are downstream. Dr. Laimi was there for about 16, 17 months. I was there for 8 months. After I left, Humphrey Abba was there for about 5 months. After Humphrey Abba left, Caleb was there for 4 years. Navy Captain Caleb Olukawade. After Olubolade, after he left, Abdul Jalil was there. They were not invited.
Honorable Minister,
please, Chairman.
These people have been invited, and some of them made their own submissions, and they send some of those apologies that they were unable to be here.
Mr. Chairman, here is the list you published. Only Lami's name and my name are here. We feel it's not fair. It's not justified. This is what we feel.
Mr. Minister, former Minister.
And we would like this public document to be corrected so that they are here. The execution of this contract or non-execution of this contract, of which you are very concerned, were done during or not done during the tenure of those gentlemen, my colleagues.
Mr. Minister, all the names that you mentioned, we said today we are starting as a takeoff. Is an opening today, and each individual or corporate will come independently and testify to the committee. We're going to be fair to everybody, including those that are not here. The Inspector of General Police is not here, but he sent us an apology and he sent us his documentations, and he's willing to come when we schedule him rightly. So we are not going to be here and start with challenging us that we are not being fair. We are fair, sincere, and willing to do the thing. So I want everyone else to be very cautious. And we have to mind the way we talk to one another. It's very important, sir. And you are here to help, not me, but the whole society, the whole country, and yourself. Some of the ministers you mentioned, they made their own presentation to the committee secretary. And we didn't mention it in the set of names we are going to invite, but they are coming as scheduled, and you are going to be scheduled to come and make all your statements. Thank you, sir.
I'm nothing but the truth.
I'm nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God. Members of the public here, I wish to thank the committee for inviting us to make this presentation. When we got the invitation on the award of contracts for the installation of CCTV cameras in Abuja and Lagos, of course, our antenna rose because central to procurement in Nigeria is the Bureau of Procurement. The moment you say procurement on the award of contracts, the first agency of government that will come to mind is the Bureau of Procurement, especially for the amount that is in question. The Bureau of Procurement in Nigeria is guided by the Procurement Act 2007 that has given the Bureau the power to certify all projects over a threshold, except for projects that are of national security, except if Mr. President so directs. And I have a copy of the Public Procurement Act on Section 15 that clearly specifies the scope of application of this law. And I quote, "The provisions of this Act shall apply to all procurements of goods, works, and services carried out by the Federal Government of Nigeria and all procurement entities." It went further to Section 2 says, "The provisions of this Act shall not apply to the procurement of special goods, works, and services involving national defense or national security unless the President's express approval has been first sought and obtained." That is the provision of law as of today. And so, with that in mind, I want to, in line with the letter we written to you, very simple. It says that the Bureau has reviewed the ad hoc committee's request and wish to observe as follows: that the contract for the installation of CCTV cameras in Abuja and Lagos under the National Public Security Communication System project was not processed at the Bureau of Public Procurement prior to the award. In other words, the project was not issued a certificate of no objection by the Bureau. Considering the purported cost of the contract in the sum of $470 million, the contract ought to have been accompanied with a certificate of no objection issued by the Bureau. This is supported by the AGF circular in line with Section 16, subsection 1B of the Act. Without a due process certificate of no objection, all payments made in respect of this project are illegal and the contract is null and void, except if proven that it is a national security. These positions are supported by Section 16.2 and 4 of the Public Procurement Act, respectively. Therefore, the Bureau does not possess any information or documentation regarding this project, considering that it was neither reviewed nor certified by the Bureau. And so we're not able to provide you those requests you asked us to provide. In conclusion, Mr. Chairman, the Chairman is respectfully invited to know that the Bureau of Public Procurement does not recognize the existence of any contract for the installation of CCTV cameras in Lagos and Abuja by the Ministry of Police Affairs, except if it is proven to be a national security, since the purported award was made without a certificate of no objection issued by the Bureau, despite the fact that the contract sum exceeded the approval powers of the Ministry. The Bureau wishes to appreciate the effort of the ad hoc committee and the National Assembly at large and ensuring that procurement in Nigeria is transparent, competitive, and efficient, with the aim of achieving value for money and fitness for purpose. Mr. Chair, members, honorable ministers, past and present, please accept the assurances of my highest consideration and esteem. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. And Honorable Engineer Magazi wants to go with us. Yeah, you can make a submission from Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues, let me make some certain clarifications.
At what point did you indicate that you wanted to make a statement? Did you write?
No, they told me before.
For avoidance of doubt,
Because
we are not here to discuss.
Agreement, and to the best of its ability, and I do believe that National Contract Advice pointed out discrepancies whenever it was noticed and gave advice on correction, and my predecessor has been invited, who worked directly with the project team and implementation team is here, and I do believe we will be able to provide all information regarding the implementation of this project. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Issues have been resolved now. The frequency and the increase of the monitor things count. So then I said that there are not, it's not here. I'll have to go back.
We have
So that's what I'm listening so that they can update it.
but really I want to just highlight the content. Due to the
Where do you advise my
nature of this project, Director General was conducted a line of provision a process with the contract for installation of CCTV in Abuja, which was later on aborted in view of the new contract awarded by the Minister of Police Affairs. Submissions made by a company was forwarded to the security consultant who was requested to prepare contract document, specification, location, identification, and evaluation of the submission by the company. The scope of work then in the project we invested at that time by 2010 comprises of, but not limited to, the installation of 500 CCTV cameras, communication network, and consultancy services. In the proposal, the key locations and facilities within the city that will be covered by the installation are the 3 arms zone, Federal Ministry buildings, Central Business District, NNPC Tower, and the Central Bank building, foreign embassies, main roads, and critical and arterial roads. Basically, the concept of the project was to provide an effective and efficient means of monitoring activities in the federal capital city, taking cognizance of the underlisted requirement. That's safety, security, crime management and detection, traffic management, disaster management, and event management. The MCT administration commenced.
Excuse me, sir. My understanding that you did not award the contract and you were not part of the contract.
Yes, we did not.
And you made your own effort to start the installation of your own CCTV, but because of the contract given by the Ministry of Police Affairs, you returned the certificate to the... It's all right, let's have the submission, please.
Okay, sir.
Any additional information you have to put it in writing for the next hearing, please.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, sir.
Then the Finance Ministry.
I stand in to represent in this complex. So when we got your letter, we reviewed the content of the letter, and we tried to look into our records to see the nexus between the project and the Central Bank of Nigeria. As I speak, we've not been able to connect it. We're not part of it. We didn't see anything that connected the CBN to the project. But we spoke with the Secretariat to avail us information which the committee might be privy to, that we can have to see if we can assist the committee with any information. But out of respect for this committee, we've come here to honor your invitation. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much.
This loan will take place, will definitely have to be paid through the central bank. Is that not correct? That is, the country will have to pay this loan through the central bank.
That's correct.
And you would have to pay through the foreign exchange in it.
of the country. We have to settle this, even though the process didn't come through the central bank.
That's correct.
Am I right?
You're quite right.
Okay. In the form of equipment, because these loans came maybe through equipment supply. There were some part of it that were transferred, through counterpart funding. We wonder how the country would have made its counterpart contribution if the central bank was not involved. There's no records there, because there's about, is it $17 million US or $70 million US that the country contributed as its own counterpart funding. And we want to believe these funds could only have been paid, could only have been made available as counterpart funding, through the central bank.
About what you're telling me now, we have to go back. I believe that we intend to serve more as technical advisors to this committee. For the information that you require, we'll have to check through the banking and payment system. And like I said, we'll avail the Secretary all the information that is required to help this committee to arrive at a conclusion.
Thank you. The Honourable Minister has the information, and again, it's all.
From what I'm getting now, if we have specifics of what is required by this committee, of course, we'll go back and avail you that information.
Okay. The tenders his apology for not being here personally. When we got the letter, we reviewed and went through our process to search for the named company, ZTE Corporation. And we